This episode is brought to you by the Arvada Center. 7 strangers, 1 remote country house, a snowstorm, and then somebody turns up dead. The Mousetrap runs September 5th through October 12th at the Arvada Center. See for yourself why Agatha Christie's ingenious detective story is the longest-running play in the world. Tickets are available now at arvadacenter.org. That's arvadacenter.org.
Today on CityCast Denver, the mayor is set to announce city layoffs in less than a week. So why is he making a high-budget hire now? And we just learned how much the local minimum wage is set to increase in January. So I've got Westward editor Patty Calhoun with me to get into all the hottest topics of the week, including the very latest update from the mayor's work to bring life back downtown. Today is Tuesday, August 12th. I'm Paul Caroli, and here's what Denver's talking about. Hey, before we get to the show today, I got a favor to ask you. CityCast is doing our annual listener survey, and it would mean a lot if you took it. And if you took it last year, I'd be really grateful if you took it again, since that data is old and useless. Please go to citycast.fm/survey to take the survey. It's only 7 minutes long. We timed it. That's citycast.fm/survey. When you take it, you'll also be eligible to win a $250 Visa gift card and CityCast Denver swag. What kind of swag, you ask? I have no idea. No one told me yet, but it'll probably be great. That's citycast.fm/survey. Westward editor Patty Calhoun, welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
So, Patty, I want to start by following up on your appearance on the show last week. We were talking about the big reveal of this first wave of projects that's going to be funded by the Downtown Development Authority. We have a little bit more detail on at least one of those projects I wanted to talk about, this green spaces thing. Do you remember this? This is $3 million?
Fascinating. He has a sample already going in Rhino. So it's almost like a new workspace concept. Bigger than it was in Rhino, bigger than most green spaces, but leasing out spaces to different businesses too.
Yeah.
Javon Taylor, right?
That's his name.
He's had some good experience. I think he's got some interesting people going in. Evan Makovsky, whose building it is giving it low rent, allegedly. So
that's what he says.
That's what he says.
In the post.
I'm sure that's probably true.
Yeah.
It's an exciting concept if it works. We also learned, which was never made clear last week, that some of these projects are loans. So, for example, the $400,000 to the Denver Immersive Project, it's a loan. The Sunday Ice Cream Project, which is $750,000, I think is a loan. Definitely the milk tea people is a loan, $640,000 that really enables it to move, remodel space. Now, they're not loans backed by guarantees, personal guarantees, so presumably...
So maybe the city gets that money back, maybe not.
Maybe not.
If the businesses
or the
don't
DDA,
work out.
I guess, yeah. If
the
they don't work
DDA.
out. But there is more. It's not quite the free-for-all we thought it was. The city, DDA outright bought those 2 parking lots, which we had the discussion of that
we heard lots of
misguided people
feedback.
Think are going to be parks. There's no way those are going to be parks.
We heard people send voicemails and emails about your comments about those parking lots all week. Do you want to talk about that? None of our listeners like this.
We bought the parking lots?
That people are fine with. But your idea that we should build a parking garage on top of these...
With buildings. So you dig down, parking garage lower, buildings with residential and retail.
But there is a parking garage underground there already.
Do you think we have enough parking downtown?
That parking garage is empty, always.
All right, well, we'll come back to it. But I'm saying they will never be parks.
Well,
That's just not going to happen.
The
city wasn't putting out money for parks.
Well,
we've got Skyline.
We talked about it. The
Okay.
green spaces thing is new. I want to talk about some of these things because it's all retail. This guy, Javon Taylor's taken over this space. I thought this sounded so cool. All these plans. Migas Coffee's going in. Matter, a bookstore that operates in Ballpark. Lunar Plus, a tech accessory shop, which godsend. As I might have been keeping that Radio Shack on 16th Street alive for a few years based on how often I was there. Be a Good Person, a local clothing brand. Just like the list goes on of these like great, super local, very like unique shops. Like this is what 16th Street needs, right?
Exactly.
This guy's got a vision. I love it.
Which explains a lot on why he did get the nod on this.
For sure.
He's got Evan backing him somehow. He's got a deal of some kind on the lease, whether or not it's as generous as I seem to think it is.
Well, I'm sure the owner of the building is going to say
yes.
it's generous, you know?
Yeah. Well, but also like Matter, which is maybe the coolest store in Denver, that you could have a branch there. It's really exciting that this is the kind of thing we want to get in there. Now, I wonder if any of those businesses were actually interested in getting their own project grant from
Perhaps.
DDA, but this is a safer bet for them.
Perhaps.
They need that low rent. Let's say that for sure.
Hope it works. Just hope it works. I mean, if I was a tourist, that would be the kind of place I would want to go to.
Well, I was walking along the mall at high noon on...
Sorry, where?
16th Street.
What is this?
I was recreating a walk I took on the mall 10 years ago on August 8th, which was at high noon, which was at the time the most visited mall visitation time of the year. And I wanted to see what it looked like. And it wasn't a perfect example because it was so full of people in banana outfits because of the Savannah bananas. So it was not a model example of what 16th Street now looks like.
Yeah. The one last thing on 16th Street before we talk about something else is that you and I were at this this mixer thing at the new car-free patch on Glenarm that they've turned into an open consumption site. So there was an open bar at this event, and we were there. And this is a place that I have talked about because I think of all the things they've invested in on 16th so far, this one is like not working. I have not seen people use it. We were there. What did you think?
Well, I've been there. I've hung out there a lot over the years. And in fact, that saloon, West Saloon, was where I went during COVID a lot to sit on that patio. The guy was the owner, so nice, so desperate for business. I mean, just imagine. And yet it had a patio you could go to. And listeners who've been around for a long time will know that was Marlowe's in the old days. So when I sat there when Johnston did his first State of the City after he'd been, I didn't actually go in. I sat outside to see how people responded. It's been a very tough corner to liven up. Now, will it take really bringing back all of 16th Street before this will do it? Because it's not reason enough to go there. Although God knows when there are those beautiful parks a block away, maybe the place will be jammed.
Maybe. I mean, it would help. It'd get people a little bit more like, I don't know. I still don't think it works. I'm not seeing anyone drinking on that street. I can't.
Well, part of it was you couldn't actually tell where you could or what you 100% would do.
Agree. Yeah.
I mean, we had chairs, but you couldn't tell what other people would do there. There were no real activities that I could spot. But I think with time, maybe that could come back. They've got live music there during lunch.
Yeah, we'll see.
I haven't caught one of
those. This episode is brought to you by Rocky Mountain PBS. Rocky Mountain PBS is part of a national PBS network, streaming acclaimed PBS films and series, in-depth journalism, and of course, lots of local content. From award-winning masterpiece dramas and captivating mysteries to thought-provoking documentaries and trusted news, Rocky Mountain PBS brings you the best of PBS plus so much more. And with Rocky Mountain PBS Kids, you get 24/7 kids TV, so your little ones can enjoy fun, educational entertainment anytime. Montgomery watches this one called Work It Out Wombats, but he calls it Work It Out Longbats. And it's like 3 wombats solving puzzles. I don't know. It's wild. Plus, Rocky Mountain PBS has launched RMPBS Plus, a new streaming app that offers PBS favorites and local content. To start watching, download Rocky Mountain PBS Plus for free from your device's app store or go to rmpbs.org to learn more. Explore it all at rmpbs.org.
Got any fun trips coming up? One thing you probably haven't put on your packing list is learning the language. But with Babbel, you can start talking in just a few weeks. I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast, and I've been learning Spanish with Babbel. And I also just persuaded my friend who's going to France this fall to learn French with Babbel, but that is another story. Babbel's extremely fun and intuitive. It's like having a private tutor in your pocket. Handcrafted by over 200 language experts, Babbel's lessons are voiced by real native speakers and built with science-backed cognitive tools and interactive features to fit any learning style. I love a lot of the different Babbel features. The Babbel games for sentence building, Babbel speech recognition, which helps me get the pronunciation right. And now I'm really into Babbel's word of the day, which greets me on the homepage of the app. Every day, a new word revealed like a little surprise with a sentence to help contextualize it. It's like a daily treat for me. Studies from Yale, Michigan State, and other leading universities continue to prove that Babbel works. One study found that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a full semester at college. Look, I want you to learn another language. So I'm teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for CityCast listeners at babbel.com/CityCast. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/CityCast. Spelled BABBEL.com/CityCast. Babbel.com/CityCast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Let's move on to the news here this week. This broke last night. It was a scoop from CBS. You forwarded me the press release. I'm going to be honest, Patty. I don't understand why this is meaningful, but the city of Denver is hiring a new city attorney, Michiko Ando Brown, known as Miko. What does a city attorney do? Why does this matter?
Well, why it matters is we haven't had one for a while. Our city attorney went up to CU. Look at everything that's going on in Denver right now. All the deals that are going on, from National Western Center down to Ball Arena, down to maybe the River Mile, down to the stadium. And we won't even get into what's going on in Washington yet. You need a smart city attorney to stay on top of all that, in addition to all the permitting issues and everything else that people need legal work in the city. And we haven't really, although there's the staff and we've had an interim head, I've been concerned that with all those big deals with smart, deep-pocketed, say, Walmart people,
sure,
that we don't have the kind of representation we need and the consistency. So I haven't had a chance to really look at her resume yet. She might have the chops for this, but I think it's really important. And everyone, remember, was complaining about the $2 million contract with the well-connected law firm regarding the sanctuary city.
Yeah,
Johnston going and
had to hire
testifying.
this hot shot.
And of course, this continues on. We didn't have a city attorney who was versed in this. I mean, that's one of the reasons we had to sign this contract. We're not the only city that did. I mean, Boston had to pay for extra money too.
Right. So, the Gazette actually reported on that last week. Apparently, the city made a second payment to that law firm, or that policy law firm, I don't know, lobbyist, I don't know what you call them, in D.C. for that contract around the sanctuary city hearing. Apparently, the tab is now up to $550,000 that we've paid.
Still under Boston's rate. But when you think about it, we also have that ongoing lawsuit we filed against the feds in response to them suing us over the sanctuary city.
Right.
So that's continuing. That isn't just Congress testimony.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to go up.
But we need a good, smart city attorney to cut some of these deals, because look at all the deals we're trying to do right now.
Well, it could be this person, Michiko Ando Brown, known as Miko. CBS found online that she was a trial attorney at Denver law firm Davis, Graham & Stubbs, had clients in 24 states. She served as president of the Colorado Asian Pacific American Bar Association. Most recently, Brown was associate general counsel for Airbnb from 2020 to 2024, and she has received awards for her efforts towards diversity, equity, and inclusion, according to information she listed online. So
it's going to be interesting. And Airbnb,
like
we were just talking about it, but certainly a lot of local hosts have had their issues with the city over Airbnb rules in this town. So she might have to clean that up first.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to think about it, but I'm not going to make any friends in Trump's Washington with all these awards for DEI work. That's interesting too.
I find it hard to believe anyone in Denver at the moment is going to make friends in D.C. But
no, that's true. Probably Denverites probably love her. I mean, I don't know. Okay, so that's a hiring. The other thing that's in the news right now is these layoffs. We know that they're coming. The city the mayor has said that they're going to start informing affected city workers next week of layoffs. I keep hearing from people who are worried about this. No one's happy about it. What's the latest you've heard?
Well, that they definitely will come down on the 18th unless something shifts. And that for the most part, everyone who's laid off will find out that day and they're out of there. There are some severance packages being worked out that will shift depending on experience and longevity at the city, but I don't really know what those are yet. But they're coming down. And look, we have a hiring freeze now in the state. 3 days after these layoffs, we're going to have the special session go in. when we're looking at let's see, 50 million and then another 200 million in Denver.
Yeah, that's
but
the
the state is looking at the city. But then the state is looking at just under $1 billion.
I know. And I was reading about that too, trying to catch up. And it sounded like, I think it was it was the Denver Post that was reporting that the hiring freeze that Polis did, it's actually not going to save really anywhere close to that much money. It's like between $3 and $7 million of the nearly $1 billion deficit that the big beautiful bill is causing us.
Yeah, it's just a start.
I guess so. We'll see. I mean, that's going to be tough. I mean, I know they already debated like all spring because there was already this push to fill in holes and balance the budget, and now they've got another $1 billion they need to cut.
They had huge cuts to the bone last session.
Yeah.
Now we're going to be cutting into bone.
I wonder though. I think they kind of always say that, you know.
Well, it was pretty bad if you followed last year, partly because we're locked in on so many areas, what we can do, what we can't do. Yeah. And Polis has said we will not cut into education, which is smart as long as we put all our education dollars to the right thing.
And that's where the disagreements will happen. So we do know one thing about Mayor Johnston's plan for these layoffs. He told CPR last week that, quote, "We're not going to say to fix the budget, we're going to only collect trash once a month instead of once a week. We're not going to make decisions that have profound impacts on core city services." That seems to be a priority. Although,
well, we're already paying for those services. That's an additional fee now. What would they do if they cut off?
True.
I mean, like, oh, thanks. We're paying for it. Would they cut it down to a quarter? So,
oh boy,
it's all going to be tricky. And depending on who they lay off, how it will affect different services.
I know. And then there's so many things the city does that are important that people like and want the city to be doing. I mean, he says also, we're not going to give up on homelessness or affordable housing or public safety. At this table, I've talked with every single cabinet member multiple times, and those are always our top priorities.
Well, I think we can safely say public safety is not going to be cut. And in fact, that was the very first DDA grant, was upping public safety downtown. I think they helped bring back the horses on 16th Street.
This episode is brought to you by Cozy Earth. Getting out of bed on a cozy morning is already hard enough, especially when my husband is still asleep and he looks so peaceful. But pair that with the most comfortable sheets from Cozy Earth, and it's nearly impossible for me to get out of bed, let alone wake this guy up. Because these sheets are life-changing. They're temperature-regulating and guaranteed to give you a comfortable night's sleep. Made from viscose from bamboo, they naturally wick away heat and moisture from your body, helping you sleep several degrees cooler, which is important when you're like me and your partner is a literal furnace at night. This tiny 4-year-old man sleeps sideways, so it's me, my furnace of a husband, Greg, and then our child that sleeps sideways. And sweaty. Why are toddlers so sweaty? And he flings his arms around. I'm like, what is he dreaming about? After sleeping on these sheets for a couple months, there's really no going back for me. But Cozy Earth offers a 100-night sleep trial, meaning you can try them out, and if you don't love them, return them hassle-free. But trust me, I don't think you're going to want to. And they have a 10-year warranty, because once you feel this level of comfort, you're going to want it to last a decade. Head to CozyEarth.com and use my code CozyDenver for 40% off. And if you get a post-purchase survey, make sure to let them know you heard about Cozy Earth right here on CityCast Denver. Because your bed should be more than a place to sleep. It should be your happy place. Cozy Earth makes that possible.
Okay, so that's the layoffs, that's hiring news, and then I think probably the top story of the day is connected to this, because part of the issue with this budget deficit the city's got is that sales revenues and tax revenues are down, business is a little bit sluggish, and some of these business owners who are already complaining, they're probably going to be complaining a little bit more, because we heard last week that the minimum wage here in Denver is once again going to be rising in January 2026. It's going to be going up to $19.29 per hour from $18.81, which is what it is now, which also means the tipped minimum wage is going to go up because they are linked. And so tipped workers will be able to have a base pay of $16.27 per hour minimum, which is up from $15.79 per hour. Huge focus of debate all year, probably more than any time I remember. Patty, what do you think this is going to mean?
It's going to mean someone is going to have to deal with the fact that last year, when it was so ugly at the legislature and they were trying to figure out some kind of bill that would give more help to restaurateurs, which of course labor and workers were saying, hey, these guys are already making money. They, cut their own bonuses or whatever. It was so ugly. And then the solution was to grant cities that have their own higher minimum wage the right to make a bigger gap between minimum wage for untipped workers and tipped workers. Right now, it's built in as a very specific amount.
Yes.
So Boulder, Denver, I'm trying to remember what other cities.
Edgewater.
They could go forward and make a plan. It would have to be Denver City Council, could decide tipped minimum wage workers could get less than the 15, whatever it's going up to, because they're also getting tips and it would be fair. But you've got to pass that legislation. We've seen no movement in 4 months for anyone in Denver to propose anything. Now, who in city council is going to take on this issue to help the restaurateurs who say it is killing us when there's a lot of opposition on any kind of worker cutbacks at the city? So that's a huge issue facing us. In the meantime, Visit Denver.
Well, let's stop there,
Okay.
actually, because you were talking to Chris Hines, who represents downtown. Downtown is where a lot of these restaurants who are struggling the most, a bunch of the Culinary Creative Group restaurants owned by Juan Padra, who is maybe the most vocal proponent of this cut to the tip minimum wage. Have you heard anything from Hines? Do you talk to him about it at all?
I've talked to him about a couple DDA things, but I haven't talked to him about this
Not the
project
tip minimum
yet.
wage?
But what I am talking to people about is the two restaurant consultants who've been
Yes,
hired.
let's get to that.
So Visit Denver, hearing these complaints, and we know Visit Denver is funded by lodging tax, and it is technically our tourism and convention booster. They need a vibrant downtown more than anyone. They need these restaurants. And they pulled together a plan with DEDO, the Office of Economic Development, and a supplier to hire for 6 months 2 restaurant consultants, very experienced restaurateurs, to collect data, to go out and talk to restaurants and make some real sustainable plans. Now, what can they do in 6 months to change things? Obviously, this tipped minimum wage issue is going to be big. Permitting with the city. Can the city pick up the pace on permitting? Public safety. So it's Dana Query, Big Red F Restaurant Group, and Adam Schlegel, who founded Snooze, and Chook, the chicken place.
Co-founded Chook with Alex Seidel.
Yeah.
Really
both.
great restaurant. That
Right.
place, Chook, if you've never been, check it out.
But, I mean, you have to think about what an unbelievable thing Snooze was when he started it with his brother John, which was at like 23rd and Larimer. It was a no man's land when they did it, and it's boomed, and they've got sold, and they're back, and they're involved. But it's now in several states.
Huge success
Yeah, so
story.
Snooze has been a big success. So he knows big, he knows little, and I think they together will really push some ideas. The question is, can you take those ideas and get them through in the city?
I think this is going to be fascinating. I requested an interview with them from Visit Denver when the announcement came out, and I was told they are not talking to anybody, and they were not at the mixer that we went to. I was hoping that they would be there. But yeah, Dana Query, I think, is particularly interesting because her husband, of course, is Dave Query,
The one who sent the cranky letter out last winter.
Yes, who started, who exacerbated these tensions with the mayor's office. So I don't know. I wonder, I feel like this is going to be the question. Has the mayor done enough to reform the permitting office and to start this and to help support this new liaison program to ameliorate these business owners' complaints to the point where they are not going to be leaning on the city council to lower this tip minimum wage?
Well, they're still going to lean on city council to do that, I think, because the biggest complaint we hear from restaurateurs is about the tip minimum wage. That's the biggest complaint. And the other complaints in the city, Dave's letter was quite the eye-opener, unless you've been talking to restaurateurs around town, which I do all the time, and every complaint he had is something I'd heard before, and that the city hadn't been listening to complaints from these local businesses. It took this going public. That was a shame. I mean, they should have known. So this is a smart move to get this liaison. Is it enough? I mean, obviously it took Visit Denver jumping in to get it going.
Yeah. To speak to the impact on restaurants a little bit, just so people understand that side of things, we did a little, back of the napkin math on these minimum wage increases last week for our newsletter. Just adding up, let's say a tipped worker works 40 hours a week. What is the increase going to be on their paycheck that the business owner has to pay? It's almost $10,000 over the course of a year. So it might not sound like a lot, but it's a lot of money. And Sonia Riggs, the head of the Colorado Restaurant Association, gave this quote to the Colorado Sun about this increase. She said, "While it may not sound like a lot, the 2026 increase will cost local businesses thousands of dollars at a time when every single penny counts. Across the board costs have never been higher, and menu prices can't keep pace, or people will dine out even less than they are right now." Making that connection back to the $20
I saw that
cheeseburger.
this weekend when we wrote pieces about the Hornet closing, which has other issues, and that's not downtown. That's down on Broadway. But the Hornet closing and other people that have closed, and somebody was complaining about the Democrats who run the city and it's all their fault, but he doesn't eat out anyway because it's too expensive. And the fact is, the biggest cost you get beyond the leases and rent is definitely going up in some parts of the city, not others, and the tip minimum wage is you've got huge food costs. I mean, they are going through the roof. So, and for the most part, restaurants can't control those at all. I mean, they can kind of go a little cheaper, but depending on what kind of restaurant they are, they don't have a lot of give in that. So they're trying to cut pennies anywhere they can.
Yeah, I was talking to Brad Anderson from Benzina, that pizza place on Colfax and the old gas station. He was explaining to me, he's been in the restaurant business for decades around Denver, and he was explaining to me that to run a profitable restaurant, you've got 3 legs of a stool that need to all add up to about 90%, so you can make money. And it's the overhead, the rent, it's the food costs, the materials like that, and then it's labor. And currently, all 3 have gone up over the last 5 years, but nothing's gone up faster than labor. It's all out of whack. It's not thirds anymore. It's like one big chunk and 2 smaller ones. So that's what he was saying. Also, have you been following his Instagram account lately?
A little bit, yes.
It is crazy what is happening. I don't know how he got himself in this situation, but he's like begging basically for people to come in, and then it works. And then when he doesn't post, no one comes in. And so the restaurant's not going to make its money for the month.
Well, and he made that really dramatic announcement that they were closing. Then enough people came, they're opening. But on that stretch of Colfax, there are a lot of other people suffering too, which is, I mean, if you looked, Pete's Kitchen basically put out a plea on Instagram this week. Please come. We're doomed.
I was really shocked by that because I remember talking to Alex Baracus, the guy who runs those, Pete's grandson, and he was predicting he'd be relatively insulated from the BRT problems because they have their own parking lot where a lot of other places on Colfax don't. But apparently not.
He was surprised. Mayor Johnston, that was one of the places he went and tended bar in the program he'd announced on this show.
Yeah.
And I think they say they're losing $10,000 a month, that you just can't sustain it.
On the other hand, though, minimum wage going up, I feel like that's going to help a lot of people,
I would think it's good for a lot of people. The challenge is this one restaurant area, the tip minimum wage issue.
Yeah.
Because you want back of the house people to be able to earn a fair amount. It's this discrepancy that really isn't fair, even within the restaurant.
Yeah, the restaurateurs would say, like, if the restaurant closes, there's no jobs, and then no one's making money. But yeah, I mean, minimum wage going up, that makes Denver a more appealing place for talented young people,
right, and
all kinds of people, really.
And we're not at $20 an hour. You're not going to get much of a lifestyle in Denver, but every penny helps.
Yeah. Well, do you have a prediction about, I guess, the tip minimum wage fight, like what we might need to see in order for that to be a real issue at council?
We're going to have to find a council member who will champion the change and really be willing to push some kind of compromise.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
And we haven't heard a word about anyone stepping up. But yes, maybe Chris Hines, where are you on this?
Maybe Hines, maybe Flynn, maybe Watson seemed like he was listening to the restaurants last time we talked to him.
Well, Hines and Watson both have a lot of restaurants in their area, and in this area that's really tough. Kevin doesn't have so many. He's on the ranked choice voting thing. We'll have heard by the time this is on, we'll know what happened at the public hearing. Yeah, so City Council is discussing this change for ranked choice voting for the at-large council seats mostly, and we'll probably talk about that later in the week because it's also very interesting. Patty Killen, thank you so much for joining me. My pleasure. I'm sorry I got you in trouble with the parking lots. No, don't worry about it. Hey, it's not on me. It's not on me. And hey, listeners, stick around. We got a really great sponsored interview with our friends at the Regional Air Quality Council. I had a really fun conversation with their communications and programs manager, Kelsey Simpkins, and you're going to hear that right now. See you, Patty. Thanks. Hey,
I'm Paul Caroli here with Kelsey Simpkins, the Communications and Programs Manager of Regional Air Quality Council. Hey, Kelsey.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for having me.
All right, Kelsey, listeners, they've heard the ads for the Regional Air Quality Council on the podcast, but we finally get a chance to pull back the curtain. What is the Regional Air Quality Council?
Yeah, thanks, Paul. So the RAC, as we affectionately call it, that's RAQC.
Do I get to call it too? Can I be in on that? Because that's really
call
funny.
It the RAC.
The
yeah,
RAC?
It's
I love that.
Alongside our many partners with fun acronyms here in the Front Range. So yes, we go by the RAC, and we are the lead air quality planning organization for Colorado's Front Range.
Simple steps, better air is the slogan that our host Bree has said many, many times. We know the slogan. What are the steps this year that you all are recommending?
So every summer we do recommend quite a few options people can pick from. So there's nothing, super specific maybe to this year we would recommend over others. We really think that offering a lot of options helps people find what works best for them.
I want to know what the new hotness is. I want to know what the trend of the summer. There's the song of the summer. I want to know the simple step for better air trend of the summer.
Okay, well, we do have a fun slogan actually that goes with this program that's called Set the Summer Trend. And that's really all about, it's really all about going electric. So I would say the hot thing to do this year in 2025 is take advantage of the discount on electric lawn and garden equipment, which is a 30% discount at point of sale. So basically, if you've been toying with the idea of going electric or you want to buy a gift for somebody, like a new electric lawnmower. We know this is, extremely sexy.
Attention
kind of
to
stuff.
my friends and family. That would be a great gift for me. Just a heads up.
If anyone listening wants to buy Paul an electric lawnmower, you will get 30% off. To take advantage of this 30% discount, the only thing you have to do is just check with a retailer in advance. Most retailers in the state are participating. Again, it's a statewide discount, but not everyone is. So the only thing you have to do is just check in and make sure before you check out that you're going to get that 30% off. Otherwise, there's no rebate, there's no coupon, there's nothing you have to fill out. It's just applied right then and there.
Fantastic. So that's the simple steps part, but the better air part is maybe a little bit more complicated because you mentioned ozone pollution. That's just something I don't understand very well. I think of maybe a lot of people are out there like me or like, I know the word ozone, but I don't know what that means. Is there anything, like any common misconception that you would point out and maybe we could take this opportunity to correct?
Yeah, and you're definitely not alone in that, Paul. So people have often heard of ozone because we have this amazing protective ozone layer that circles the Earth and keeps us safe from the sun, which we don't want to harm. But ozone is something you don't want to breathe. So there's a reason we like it high up in the atmosphere and we don't like it down here at what we call ground level. And so at ground level, ozone is a pollutant. And we have more of it than we would want here in the Front Range of Colorado on a lot of summer days.
Where does it come from?
Here, down in the atmospheric layer where we breathe, it is a secondary pollutant. It's something that's formed when other things combine. So all of our car emissions, our lawn and garden equipment, again, gas-powered stuff, our oil and gas industry, all of the emissions that come from these things essentially react in the sunlight and the heat of our hot summer days. And they form ozone. And it's a very reactive molecule. So it's something that happens very quickly and kind of builds up throughout the day. But we create it, essentially, by living our lives as we do.
You mentioned the ozone builds up over the course of the day. Is there a way I can tell that's happening, when it's happening?
Typically, no, because ozone is actually invisible.
Ooh.
And in addition, to not being able to see it, you can't smell it either. So it's very different than some of these other air quality issues we have, which are really visible.
Huh. Interesting. So let's say I'm not in the market for a new lawnmower. Is there any other, what's one thing I could do today that would have a positive impact on our air quality?
One simple thing that everyone can do today is sign up for our summer ozone alerts. We send free text and email alerts that you can find on our website at simplestepsbetterair.org, and we'll let you know on the days when ozone's going to be potentially highest or worst and might have some sort of impact on your health, or it's a really great day to take one of these steps and reduce your emissions. So we do advertise also that signing up for alerts is a great step to take. One of the easiest things people can do is to not do something. You can leave the car at home and you can work from home, or you can, if you need to go somewhere, walk, bike, or take a scooter for short distances, or opt for public transit are all great ways to reduce the number of trips you're taking in your car.
Kelsey Simpkins, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me, Paul.
Again, you can check out simplestepsbetterair.org to learn more, and we'll have that link in our show notes. Thanks for listening. That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed the show, why not take a minute to tell Javon Taylor about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts, and subscribe to our morning newsletter, and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. Thanks to our new neighbor, Ben B., who just joined our membership program. You can support the show and get great perks by joining Ben and become a CityCast neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See you then.